Hey everybody and welcome back to another video. This one will be on ACIC or Archer, who they will be merging with in this quarter. But this one will be on their upcoming lawsuit, which will be filed against them by Wisk, which is a company affiliated with Google. So this was announced about 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago. If we look here through the news, don't really see too much about it, and this hasn't really been catching that much attention, which is kind of interesting to me because I think this is a pretty big deal for the company and where this can go for the stock in the short term. The stock is currently at 986, which for a SPAC is unlikely, but not has never not happened before. It's not impossible for it to fall below $10. Even some I've seen as low as $7, which is kind of crazy for people to think about. They're like, oh, but a SPAC, I never thought it could go below $10. The risk is still that the company or the investment firm, either of the two, could still go bankrupt due to poor decisions or whatever because of the company. So the stock can still go to zero, which is always something to keep in mind with SPACs. There's no hard price floor anywhere. There's no hard price floor for any stocks. There are obviously resistances and stock prices and levels where it will be bought back up. But for this current company, is currently priced under $10, which is a good thing if you're a long-term believer in the company. Currently under $620 million at 616, and we mentioned in the previous video that they already have $1 billion in revenue this year and up to $1.5 billion from American Airlines, which is great for their price to sales ratio, as we mentioned before. So without further ado, let's get into an article discussing their kind of lawsuit against them. This is from New York Times, which I would view as a, I guess, semi-reputable source, just kind of giving an overall detail of what they are trying to prove with this lawsuit. So we can see here that they apparently had two former employees that were working for Wisk at the time, and two engineers that took sensitive files, or I guess top secret. And if we look at the pictures, I mean, yeah, I guess they look pretty similar, but I mean, how else did you want a helicopter plane to look? I mean, it's a hybrid between a helicopter and a plane that makes less noise and can travel from rooftop to rooftop within cities. I don't know how many different designs you could go with, but I mean, yeah, it looks pretty similar. There are some obviously differences within the front. The front here looks slightly different with the nose. The nose is slightly more pointed on the Archer one, and the wings look slightly different, and the backs of the wings look like they have propellers too. So you can see here, these just look like rotors where it can direct which direction for it to fly. And then if we look at the bottom, at the landing apparatus, they only had two. And then Archer's has 3 wheels, and these have rails. And if it gets into the article, it says, the age of electric planes may still be far away, but the fight for the market's already heating up. The lawsuit brings into public view a dispute between two little-known companies in a business that has become a playground for billionaires. The niche market for EV and planes has become frenzied in the recent months, and so-called blank check companies, or SPACs, have let investors in the blank check firms, formerly known as special, just going over what a SPAC is. But in the lawsuit, Wisk contends the intellectual property that Archer promoted as part of its merger was stolen by engineers hired from Wisk. Filed in the U.S. Direct Court of Northern District of California, the lawsuit accuses two engineers of downloading thousands of files containing confidential designs and data before leaving Wisk to join Archer. Wisk accused a third engineer of wiping his history, his activity from the computer before leaving Archer. Wisk brings this lawsuit to stop a brazen theft of its intellectual property and confidential information to protect and the substantial investment of resources and years of hard work and effort over employees in the future of urban air and transportation, Archer denied wrongdoing. It's regrettable that Wisk would engage in litigation and attempt to deflate the business issues that have caused several employees to depart. Archer said in its sentiment the plaintiff raised these matters over a year ago and are looking into them thoroughly, and we have no reason to believe that any property of Wisk Technology made its way over to Archer. We intend to defend ourselves vigorously. Archer has also said that it placed an employee accused in the suit on paid leave in connection with government investigation and search warrant issued to the employee, which they believe focused on conduct prior to the employee joining the company, which is a good thing. They're taking care of their employees because they didn't have to give them paid time off for this investigation. Archer said that its 3 employees who had worked with the individual had been subpoenaed. I don't even know what that word is in the investigation, were cooperating with the authorities. Wisk described the case as criminal investigation, so they're taking it very, very seriously. And they get into examples here. Intellectual property lawsuits are not uncommonly and quickly developing in promising industries. Even Waymo, Google's parent company, Alphabet, was accused of one of its former employees of stealing and going to Uber to gain access to race and development of autonomous cars, which is obviously a very hot field. The company settled a case in 2018. Former Waymo employee Anthony Levandowski, a one-time confidant of Mr. Page, was sentenced to 18 months in prison. But he got pardoned by President Trump in January. Archer announced its merger with Atlas Crest Acquisition Corp in February, and the deal will be valued at $3.8 billion, which is currently over a 5x from its current valuation, and said its suspicion this were confirmed with Archer released a presentation containing the designs that are very similar. So basically all they have is the designs of the aircraft. I don't want to get too much into it because they get into just further legal jargon, not so much about the lawsuit, but it just kind of goes off on a tangent. So really all they really have to go off of is this picture. And of course they had some threatening words in there and paragraphs saying that, oh, this has happened before and with Uber, and that's kind of an up-and-coming lawsuit field where people are suing for ideas where they used to work at former companies. But in my opinion, if all they have to work off is these sketches, I don't really see anything substantial. Now, if they're able to prove that they did steal thousands of pages of data before leaving, that will be a huge, huge deal, and they may actually have to go to jail. But this is just 3 employees, and if we look, ACIC already has, like I said earlier, over $1 billion in revenue this year just from sales on vehicles that they will be making in, I think, 2022 and 2023 for American Airlines. So it's one thing to accuse someone of stealing a sketch or ideas or just kind of plans for the future, but it's another thing for a company to actually put them into place, where I think this lawsuit is losing some of its validity, is that I'm not sure how far along they are in their stage of development, but Archer is already very, very far and already has orders for these helicopters or helicopter plane hybrids, whatever you want to call it, EV. But I have yet to hear anything from Wisk. If anyone wants to inform me more about the company Wisk, down in the comments section, or tell me something that I'm missing about this, I would be more than happy to know about this. But this lawsuit doesn't really cause me too many concerns, just because I said they're only really basing off of this current sketch, which, I mean, yeah, they look pretty similar, but I mean, most cars on the road look similar. If you look at most sedans, they all have like a defining feature that's very similar to another one. A lot of them take just kind of bits and pieces from other cars and inspirations from other people. And I don't think anything is wrong with that. These 3 individuals, if they are found guilty, have been stealing actual technology and some of the kind of more in-depth technology, not sort of the design concepts, they will actually be in trouble and might have to serve jail time. But that does not put the company bankrupt by any means, and I still believe that they will be able to fulfill their orders and be able to grow orders over time. So that is why I am looking to buy more of this stock based off of that article. Once again, if I am missing something with this lawsuit, please let me know in the comments section. I would love to know before investing more money. But if you did last this far, leave a like, leave a comment, and please subscribe. It definitely helps the channel grow a lot. And have a good one. I appreciate everyone who does.